Hello lovely people, and welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Anarbong and I am an illustrator in training. So this video is very casual, it's very simple, it's what we in the biz like to call a sketch with me. I'm just going to be sketching out a page in my sketchbook and giving you some updates about this channel, my Etsy shop, and maybe a little of life. We'll see how much I'm willing to share. I'm still internet shy, as it were. As I was saying, this channel is going to be undergoing a bit of a change, a little bit of a rebranding, seeing as we're still small. Now is the time, while we're still young and growing, for me to solidify my purpose for this channel, what it's about and where I hope to go with it. Some people come up with the full idea and spend months working out the finer details before they launch. I've always been more of a trial and error kind of person. I just go for it and see what happens. I throw it all against the wall and see what sticks and keep iterating along the way. So we're just going to call this iteration number 1. So yes, this channel will still be about me growing as an artist, improving my skills and finding my voice, yada yada yada, but I also want to include more behind the scenes about the products in my shop and running an Etsy shop, also the growth of my Etsy shop, and I'm hoping to also launch an online website as well, because all these things are still small. We are growing. I also might play around with showing my face on here some more. The only reason that I don't show my face is because I just can't be bothered to put makeup on. I gave up wearing makeup back in 2021 and I'm just not ready to get back into that life full time, and that's why you don't see my face. Also, I have been getting into bookbinding recently and creating handmade notebooks and memo pads and just generally lots of crafty things. I'm a pretty crafty person and I want to include more of that on this channel, so I also want to give you some behind the scenes of how I create things, some tips and tricks, some more educational material. We're just going for growth overall. Numerically, spiritually, educationally, we're just trying to be fully rounded people over here. So there are going to be some big announcements and some big changes heading this way, but for today we're just drawing. I used to think that a sketch was just a rough pencil drawing that didn't look finished or refined in any way. I used to think you don't add any colour, that it's just kind of the basic level of drawing. And then I watched my first YouTube sketch with me and realised that I was sorely mistaken. There are people out there doing full-on finished pieces and calling it a sketch. As someone who is not a formally trained artist, I realised my error. So maybe one day I'll get to the point where my sketches look like finished pieces. That day is not today. All joking aside, of course, there are many different sketchbooks out there. There are many different purposes for sketching and for working in a sketchbook. And of course, if you're submitting your sketchbook as part of your college or university application, or if you're submitting your sketchbook to be marked or graded, then you're going to want to have more finished and refined pieces, and you're going to be thinking about composing them correctly and composing your pages correctly and all that jazz. But if you're like me, or even if you're not like me and you are a serious artist, so to speak, you're going to want to have at least one sketchbook that you're not afraid to ruin, for want of a better word. I think, actually I know that As creative people, we have to get used to making bad work. If you're a writer, you have to accept the fact that you're going to write badly. Understand that the first draft of anything you write is going to be terrible. And if you understand this and just get used to making bad art, it frees you up a lot because you're not trying to make everything perfect in the first time round. And if you reach a point where everything you do is immaculate and stunning, then that means you're not growing anymore and you're not pushing yourself. And you're not doing things that get you out of your comfort zone. So yeah, you want to be failing. If you're not failing, you're not trying anything new. You're just sticking with the same old. So yes, it's very important to make bad art, and it's very important to experiment and not get too precious about sketchbooks. Get precious about those ones that you're submitting for formal educational reasons. But everything else, just throw caution to the wind and let loose. I think in this video I may have taken my own advice a little too literally. I get into the habit of going on Pinterest and saving a bunch of pictures that I think are really great references to draw, and then I never look back at them ever again. So for this video, I just pulled up one of my Pinterest boards of references and searched through that board instead of the whole of the Pinterest Discover, and picked some of the pictures that I had saved in at a different time when I was in a different frame of mind, and just decided to fill up one page of my sketchbook with them. Initially, I thought about doing a whole 2-page spread, but then I understood that I sketch when my son sleeps. I have a 13-month-old, and the time when he sleeps is precious to me, and I didn't want to spend the whole hour and a half to 2 hours of his nap time. I know I'm blessed. I have a good napper and a good sleeper, but I didn't want to spend that whole time sketching as much as I would love to. There were other things to be done around the house. So I limited my time to an hour, and because I'm still a newbie at this, I was only able to do one page in an hour. But I'm hoping that with more practice, I get faster and better and all of those wonderful things. While I didn't think too long and hard about composition, something that I knew that I wanted to do was to fill the page with different kinds of references. So I didn't want to just do all heads, I didn't want to just do all full figures. I wanted to do a variation of both. I wanted to do some heads, I wanted to do a full body, and I wanted to make sure that all the heads I did were slightly different. So I chose this striking profile of this beautiful black model with very high cut cheekbones and very striking features, who the photo of her, it's on my Pinterest board, which is linked in my bio, but the photo of her is absolutely stunning. So I wanted to try and capture something of that in sketch form. And I know that I need to work on my profile views, so we are drawing this, and we have many more profiles to draw in the future. Unfortunately, I'm still not getting to the hang of the fact that my camera just stops recording after, I think it's something silly like 27 minutes. I need to get into the habit of setting a timer to just check. It's not that my memory card is full, I think it's that my camera overheats or something, and so it stops recording after 27 minutes. So unfortunately, I didn't record any of the inking phase, and I feel like the illustration really came together in the inking phase. Although something that we're talking about making bad art here, I definitely went overboard with some of the shading on her forehead and on her eyes especially. I'm playing around with hashing and how I want to do shading and where I want to emphasize, and obviously I still have a lot to learn about anatomy and planes of the face, because this shading is all It's not all askew, but the forehead was not well placed. But I do enjoy how her hair turned out, and I do enjoy the 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 sketchiness of it. And then, as I said before, the one of my aims for this spread was making sure that I drew a variation of references. So here is my lady looking face on, which usually tends to be my favourite angle of drawing faces, but I struggled a bit with her. It's also me trying to use my guidelines more and not just drawing them and then ignoring them, which is a habit of mine. And I also wanted to draw glasses because I'm a glasses wearer myself, and so I feel like at the very least the things I should be good at drawing are things that the characters, I should be good at illustrating are characters that look like me at the very least, and then after that I can start getting good at illustrating the characters that don't look like me. But if I can't even illustrate the characters that look like me, then what am I even here for? Oh, and I can't let this go by without mentioning juicy lips. I love drawing juicy lips, they're my favourite. The end. So I struggle a lot with inking. I find that my inking can look very stiff. I often feel that I end up ruining my illustrations with my inking, and so part of me didn't want to ink this sketch. I kind of liked it as a pencil sketch, but I forced myself to ink it because I love seeing inked artwork. I want my artwork to look good when inked, and so I'm forcing myself to do things that I don't like with the hopes that I will improve at doing those things, which one can hope. And what I found, there's a moment here, and if I can spot it by watching this recording back, I will make a note to it, but I think it might be hard to spot. But while I was inking this illustration, there was a moment when I found myself being looser and freer with the inking, and the inking ended up coming out so much nicer than when I was stiff-handed and trying to make every line absolutely perfect. It was like a breakthrough moment for me, and it was encouraging because I think I said this before in one of my videos, when you are in the midst of the day-to-day, it's hard to see and experience any improvement. You have to look back and see where you've come from, and I don't feel that I've been drawing regularly for long enough to have the portfolio of work to look back on and see improvement there. It's just not there yet. I need a few more days. I need a few more months of drawing every day so that I can start to see some improvement. But with this illustration, I felt myself loosening up. I felt myself taking on board the direction that I've heard in a few online Udemy courses that I've done, which is to have loose lines and to be free and draw loosely. And I think you'll hear lots of YouTube artists say that to be loosely. And I can't spot the moment when it happens, so I know that I can definitely be more loose, but I just wanted to let you know that I had a bit of a breakthrough moment here and encourage you to persevere, because your breakthrough will come, and your breakthrough will come more than once. So again, I need a breakthrough moment to happen with the shading, because she was looking so good, and then I started shading and I ruined it. Talk about making bad art. This was where I took my advice too literally, and I know that what I need to learn is to do more of Bob Ross's Happy Little Accidents. I need to learn how to adapt and incorporate my mistakes into the art. I haven't learned that yet. I just kind of make the mistake, think it's terrible, but then just continue making it and not really know how to fix it. So yeah, you'll see me just continue to add darker and darker lines and not really do anything to improve her. This was the exact moment when I hit the point of no return and she was absolutely wrecked. We'll say it was the style, we'll say that's what I was going for. At this point, I thought about putting the sticky note over her face and redrawing it. But then A, I couldn't be bothered to do that, and B, I finally decided to just let it be. To take my own advice and not strive to have a perfect sketchbook, but to let the mistakes sit there in their full glory and to look back at them and learn from them. And in my attempt to kind of even out all the poor shading, I decided to just shade her whole face. She's a black lady anyway. We wanted to give her some depth, some texture, some flavour. Or say we're going for some kind of pop art type thing. I don't know any art theory, so I don't know if that is pop art. Some kind of comic book type thing. That's what we'll say. That's what we'll say we're going for. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed my ramblings and my bad art, please like it and subscribe to my channel. It is really helpful to me and you'll be supporting a startup business. Also, follow me on Instagram. I don't post every day because I don't understand how people can find the time to post every day, especially people who have darling babies like me, but I post regularly enough on Instagram that I'll be interesting to follow. Also, Instagram is going through some kind of identity crisis where it thinks it's a budget TikTok and I don't really understand how to use it right now, but that's a rant for a different day. I've also been thinking about joining TikTok, but if I'm struggling with Instagram, who knows if that's going to happen. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Have a good day, good evening, or good night. Goodbye.